Central Valley of California. It's 100 degrees, and Fresno Football Club returns to Chuck Chansey Park, where so far this year they've been nearly unbeatable. 12 wins on the season, ascendant in the standings, taking on a Colorado Springs side that has struggled, but one of their 6 wins against the Foxes. Mike Watts, Eric Dobransky on the call for this one. Tonight's matchup in the game on the field brought to you by Own a Car Fresno. Own a Car Fresno, drive with style. Ellis Hayden pushing forward with style.
Absolutely. Last week's man of the match has been fantastic for the Foxes of Fresno FC. When we spoke to head coach Adam Smith earlier this week, he made it clear that he felt his team's good form throughout the season was a collective team effort. Zach Ellis Hayden has been dynamic, courageous going forward, and he has produced some dangerous services. He had an assist on Jaime Chavez's lone goal against Real Monarchs.
And Jordan Burt, they need him to get going.
Absolutely. The Switchbacks captain and leader, he also leads the team with 6 goals. One of his 6 goals came against this Fresno FC team in their win on June 1st, their 1-0 win. As an outside defender, he's made an incredible impact going forward and is a target on all of the Switchback set pieces.
Including that game back in June. Tonight's Road to Victory brought to you by Travel Shop Fresno. Keep that pressure on.
Fresno needs to come out flying, apply the pressure to the Switchbacks team. They seem to turn the ball over in interesting areas. Can Fresno FC turn those turnovers into transitional moments to goal?
And for Switchbacks, you have 2 points of emphasis. Improve the road form, convert your opportunities.
Improve the road form. Only 5 points on the road. 1 win, 2 draws. Can they set a tone to begin this game and earn points to climb the standings? And then convert their chances. They've been opportunistic. Can you put them in the back of the net?
We're going to find out. Switchbacks have beaten Fresno this year. It's clearly their win of the season. They have a new coach, a new philosophy, and they're headed to the Central Valley to take on a Fresno side, 3rd in the Western Conference. Big matchup coming up in the USL Championship after this. Colorado Springs and Fresno making their way onto the field. Chuck Chansey Park. C.A. Rodriguez, hands to the sky, just 17 years old, the goalkeeper for Colorado Springs. C.J. Cochran helping to lead the way behind Juan Pablo Caffa for Fresno. With Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts, let's take a look at tonight's starting 11 brought to you by El Mexicano. We begin with Adam Smith's starting 11. They only make 1 change, it's up front.
Yeah, and I'm definitely interested to see the combination of Jaime Chavez and Kudus Lawal. They're 2 dynamic players between the 2 of them. They've got 14 goals, 7 each.
Soli Samora moves to the bench in the corresponding move as Fresno maybe plays this formation. Maybe they don't. We're going to find out, I think, early in this one. Meanwhile, Colorado Springs, their starting 11 is going to look a bit like this. There are a lot of changes. Sebastian Anderson, Cole Bassett on loan from the Rapids yesterday. Fernando Delfin out of Liga MX. He's played in Liga MX for Club America. Available as well for the first time for the Switchbacks.
Yes, and the interesting move is Jordan Burt playing up top, typically a right wing back. Leads the team with 6 goals. I'm interested to see what he does up front. Obviously, Ish Jome has been dangerous all season as well.
And Wolde Harris taking over from the since sacked Steve Trittschuh. He was an assistant on that staff. And they're trying to push the right buttons here in an effort to get back into this thing. They've got a long way to go. 10 points from 10th place. Let's take a look at tonight's injury report. It's brought to you by Physio Motion. There are the bad breaks for Fresno. Moses and Basulovic there without Cooper. Jackson is available tonight. And for the Switchbacks, it's just been a struggle to get Mike completely healthy at this point. When he's going, he can really pull some strings. Without him, it's one more piece missing in an attack that's trying to be a little more consistent. So Fresno right now, 3 unbeaten, 2 games in hand on Reno. They are tied for the best defense in the Western Conference. And Eric, you think about what lies in front of Fresno here tonight. I don't think Adam Smith forgot about the game that happened a month and a half, 2.5 months ago, rather, against Colorado Springs on the road. This is a game where revenge is a little bit of a factor. They lost to what at the time was the worst team in the league.
Absolutely, and this Fresno FC team has a lot to play for. I mean, they're chasing Reno right now. They're tied on points. You're playing a team that's 16th in the standings. You're obviously hoping to take 3 points away from this game.
And with Colorado Springs, we spoke with Wolde Harris, and I came away a little more optimistic about their future fortunes. You can tell he's trying to implement what he wants in a club.
Yeah, he made it very clear that he is a team-oriented guy, and he wants his team to connect a little bit more, and he said it. He wants them to be more ruthless in front of net and score more goals.
Alejandro Aguilera blows the whistle. Underway, Central Valley of California, Fresno Football Club and Colorado Springs Switchback Football Club. Chuck Chansey Park playing site. It's 100 degrees right now. I would imagine we're going to see hydration breaks in both halves at this rate, as Fresno nearly turns that over in the back. Del Campo and Kuramoto combine to keep it away. And in 100-degree heat, you have to pick and choose when you're going to try and press in certain areas of the field and when you want to serve a little more energy.
Oh, absolutely. Both teams will probably be looking to work smart, work early, move the ball, let the ball do the work.
Set that tempo.
Absolutely. I'm very interested to see the opening exchanges here.
There's Jamal Johnson looking to pull that through. And lifted by Robinson. Argueta in pursuit, played 23 games in Fresno's expansion season a year ago. And returns to Chuck Chansey Park for the first time, 6 in white tonight. And pushing for Cole Bassett. Ellis Hayden, that's poor communication. And Geffrard is there, the left-footed center back.
Those are 2 turnovers early that worry you a little bit, but you're hoping that Fresno FC can really string some passes together and really work their way into that final third.
The question is, Coach, Adam Smith still sitting. He's calm. I don't know how you'd be. Chavez trying to knock that across the face of goal, and Abe Rodriguez has it in his 11th pro start.
I mean, right now he has 3 players in Jaime Chavez, Qudis Lawal, and Jamal Johnson that are on fire. They each have 7 goals, 21 goals between all 3 of them. When you have that firepower, you can sit down and watch those 3 play a little bit.
It's Kaffa, who came off the bench the first time these teams met.
incredible left foot Kaffa has. There was a couple times in that Real Monarchs game you would have wished he would have taken a shot for himself, but he looked to pass a couple times.
Ellis Hayden floating that to the back post. Was that kept in play? It did get out just narrowly. Goal kick. Well, if you're Colorado Springs, you've got a guy defending at the penalty spot, looking for the offside flag or for the flag to go up, for that to be over the byline. And I think Wolde Harris would much rather they pay attention to the action that's still in front of them. Chavez from the wall. That's a relationship you and I are interested to see develop tonight.
Absolutely. Those two are very opportunistic. And then when you add in the ability to press Colorado Springs in that infield area where they have to put the grass over that infield, it's tough to build out of the back when you're playing on that surface. So can they jump on a mistake? Can they jump on something that Colorado Springs leaves a flat ball or a lightly hit ball?
Ellis Hayden tries to force his way through. The wall chasing. Chavez nearly took that away. And Guatu Biaye, the Rwandan center back, did just enough to pull it back.
That is well done.
My pronunciation, thank you. So I've been told. Started the year at Swope Park Rangers, was moved on there to Colorado Rapids, and on loan now to Colorado Springs. Kuramoto. Good dragging run, Martin. Johnson the foul at the back of Robinson.
Not sitting anymore. This is what got Adam Smith out of his seat. He was really hoping that Jamal Johnson could turn him over and go right at him, but the referee wanted to stop play.
Daly heads that down where Burt takes over. It's behind Bassett, kept in play by Robinson.
Daly and Del Campo have been so good in the back for Fresno FC. You're going to have to move them a little bit more than Colorado Springs has been moving them here in the first 5 minutes. You can't just launch a ball forward that way and expect Mickey Daly to misplay it.
Martin unable to break through. Sebastian Anderson there defensively. If you want to get it at Daly and Del Campo, if you move them laterally, that's not their strength, right?
Correct. And that would be what Colorado Springs is looking to do, is move them laterally. Get them a little disorganized.
Lobbing balls at those two is probably not your best idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, they do have Jordan Burt up there now, who is their target on set pieces. So maybe that is the plan. Maybe it is to get Jordan Burt in the final third, in the 18, let him win some of those balls. Ish Jones serves a great corner.
Back to Cochran, who's backstopped the statistically best defense in the Western Conference so far this year, allowing just 23 goals as a team. It's Schweitzer.
It really has been a solid season for Fresno FC. When we talked to Adam Smith earlier this week, he was really impressed how everybody has stepped up through the injuries they've faced. And everybody's kind of owned their role through the season. And you could see it. They're sitting in third place, tied for second, down in goal differential, but having a very productive season.
You hear him say it. He goes, look, Cooper's out, Jackson's out. You got to move Jamal Johnson to the middle. So you're down 3 wide players, and now you're asking Ellis Hayden who's been the rock of this team, and Elijah Martin, who was an unknown quantity at the start of the year, to work with a 3-back, which isn't necessarily their preferred look. And the depth of the team has somehow made that work.
Yep, absolutely. It's been impressive, and that's why he credited his team for, he definitely said their mental strength has been tested throughout the season, and they've grown and improved.
Switchbacks charging the other way. It's a former Fox. Argueta working in on Geffrard. Geffrard slides in, and pirouetting through that challenge was Argueta. Corner coming for Switchbacks.
Now let's keep an eye on Jordan Burt here. He has been the target for Ish Jome throughout the season. And obviously, Jordan Burt has been converting 6 goals as a defender, and now he gets to start it forward.
Burt 44 in white there on the left-hand side of your screen a moment ago. Guy who joined Colorado Springs in 2015 out of Butler. Corner lifted. It was Burt near the goal line. He had Jamal Jack making that run at Cochran as well, who easily picked that off.
It was not one of Ish Jome's more productive services of the year. Right to CJ Cochran.
Lawal gave chase, overrun by Jamal Jack. Wall got knocked off the ball. Kaffa with that cultured foot. Left that a bit short. Kurimoto. Johnson. Ellis Hayden. Ellis Hayden striding into that. Maybe he gets another look. Johnson couldn't turn over it. Schweitzer now. Nearly lost it, not once, but twice. But in the end, Robinson lines that in a way that ricochets out for a Colorado Springs throw.
Oh, Ellis Hayden. I thought you could have taken that a little earlier. Waited just a split second too long.
Ten minutes gone. Colorado Springs 3 from the bottom. Fresno 3rd from the top in the USL Championships Western Conference. Kind of ironic, you know, coming into this game, we look back to the 4-0 loss for Switchbacks FC against Sacramento, and it's all these turnovers in poor areas. Early in this game, Fresno was the one giving the ball up in their own half. It seems like they've stemmed that tide a little bit, but maybe a reversal of roles at the outset.
Yeah, I mean, this is how the Colorado Springs Switchbacks looked against Sacramento Republic a week ago. They looked good in that first 10 to 15 minutes. Saeed Robinson had a great opportunity in the final third to put Colorado Springs up 1-0, but didn't convert. And then they go in halftime 1-0 down, and then the game finishes 4-0. So just that timeliness, that opportunity to score a goal, maybe put your team up 1-0 early, is what Colorado seems to be missing all year. Is that timely goal.
Seems like Colorado Springs, when they're in possession, that the movement off the ball is actually pretty good. As this will run all the way up to the byline, kept in play by Elijah Martin. Martin bodying his way through. Johnson snaps a header upfield. Jack this time. Johnson again, the former English Premier League player. Now Kaffa. Kaffa lofting over Chavez. I think you felt like Colorado Springs got pretty good chances. The problem is yeah, they haven't been able to actually turn that into the timely goals they need to to take the next step.
Yeah, correct. It's just recognizing moments when your team needs you. We talked to Walde Harris earlier in the week, and he just outright said it. They need to be more ruthless in front of goal. They created great opportunities, and they've done that throughout the season. They just need to convert.
It's a team that's gone 5 winless. They've won twice since Harris took over the club from Steve Tritchew. He was on Tritchew's staff for 4.5 years since this organization got off the ground. The last game was at the beginning of July of the Tritchew era. 5-0 loss to Austin. And both Tritchew to the media and Harris to us said it really did come out of the blue. A little emotional shock in that for Harris. Wasn't sure what to do. Turned over here. Chavez got a lick at that, and Rodriguez gets to ground to claim it. That was a hairy moment.
Those are those scary turnovers that Colorado Springs puts together sometimes throughout 90 minutes.
Jome. Johnson. Ellis Hayden on the move, backing in Jome. All out of sorts, ball in front. He is gonna spiral back and get picked up by Bassett.
Ellis Hayden plays with such confidence. He's playing Ish Jome, one of the better Colorado Springs defenders, and he just goes right at him.
Chavez gives chase. Young goalkeeper might make a bit of a mistake here. Rodriguez got it away. It's things like that as a Colorado Springs player that you just can't do. And you think back to that last move by Ellis Hayden, he had Jome every which way.
Yeah, here you go. The confidence to turn him around. And then again, that's what he's been doing all year, and he did a great job against Real Monarchs on last week. Jaime Chavez got on the end of one. Probably should have gotten 2 or 3 more.
And there was a foul there in the interim. So free kick for Juan Pablo Caffa. The world's his oyster, isn't it? Daly gets forward. Geffrard gets forward. Del Campo. There's some trees.
Oh, absolutely. And Juan Pablo Caffa with that left foot.
There it is. Caffa didn't get it over the defender. Still maybe something to be had here. Del Campo. The cross. And looked for Lawal. Not terrible there from Del Campo, the center back working off the wing.
Yeah, I mean, they're really attacking Colorado Springs' left side. Whether it's with Del Campo or Ellis Hayden. Obviously, Del Campo was up there off a set piece, but still coming off of off the Switchbacks' left side.
So Rodriguez will go to work here. I think the biggest takeaway I had talking with the Switchback staff coming into this game, we always want to play football. Not we play when it's convenient. We always want to play with the ball, find ways to limit the opposition. They harped on taking chances this week, but ultimately their structure is being able to play out of the back. And for one, tonight they're playing off the side of the field that's more difficult to play out of to begin with. But also you've got a lot of young players back there that maybe aren't totally accustomed to that. As a coach, that's got to be a difficult position to be in, to decide how much you really want to press your philosophy in the middle of a year where you've just taken over.
Absolutely. You just wonder if Coach Walde Harris wants to just build a culture from here on out. Obviously, we talked to him during the week. He wants this job full time. And I think it's something that if he can build this culture and build that consistency. Now, like you just said, maybe it's uncomfortable for the players initially, but can they start to show growth? And I think through the games they have, and they've created more opportunities as the season has gone on. But now can you get that person that just buries these chances?
He said, hey, 10 chances in this game, 18 in that game. Couple clear cut early against Sacramento. Bassett Who's got a lot of time in MLS this year for the Rapids and couldn't break that down. Well, why not just dribble it forward yourself? Chavez offside.
Took off a split second too soon.
It's going to be tough to tell from that angle one way or the other, but he is sort of a stride ahead, isn't he?
Yes, it definitely looked like he just took off a little soon. He got a little anxious and just took off. He played a little late.
Daly. Kurimoto. Guatubiaye. Rodriguez.
And head coach Adam Smith is definitely up and coaching his team right now. He is not happy about something.
He's literally directing traffic right now, move by move. Look at Burt, shot out of a cannon. Burt shooting like a cannon. And that's well over the crossbar. Burt a little retracted there. He was listed as a forward up front, the outside back in this game, not afraid to push.
You can see that Coach Adam Smith wants his team to press, but you can also see that if Colorado Springs finds that pocket just like they do, that came off a press right there. Jordan Burt got it in between the center backs and that midfield line. So you could find that space. If you find it early enough, it will be there. That's why you have to be very, very careful and organized when you press, because you're gonna leave gaps behind yourself.
That was part of the discussion this week, the fact that if you're gonna defend with three in the back, if you turn the ball over, those two wide midfielders have to come and help defend in that five-player block more effectively, and they felt like they made good switches at halftime tactically to address that. In that 1-1 draw against Real Monarchs, a game where they actually led at the break as well. Just said the block was wrong all the way to Cochran. I'll give Adam a lot of credit, and you as a coach surely understand this. Sometimes you walk out of a game and go, hey, I got everything right. There's other games where you go, hey, there's some things I think I did wrong. In that draw against Real Monarchs, he felt like the block wasn't quite right. He felt his subs weren't perfectly timed. You have to appreciate a coach that understands he could have done a little better there too, and he told the boys that.
Yes, and you could tell that meant a lot to his team as well, because everybody has really grasped what he's asking them to do. And he definitely owned it this week, knowing that he made maybe a couple, either a change too late or a change too early.
Whoa, Lawal by Joam, the cross is lifted straight in the air and out. Jamal Jack clearly got the worst of that, and Jaime Chavez was right behind him. Jack's back up.
Again, so good on this right side. Getting a good service in, and Fresno FC starting to get better and better numbers in on these services.
You know, I think it's only really a nightmare for Joam if he gives up a goal, but right now he spent a lot of time being deked left and right. Off the short corner, Kurimoto. Got over Daly. Johnson can get this service in.
You can really see Fresno FC turning it up. They're putting a lot more pressure on Colorado Springs. They're seeing a lot more of the ball right now.
Do you see that as an actual adjustment in this game, or just Colorado Springs playing into certain triggers that we've seen?
I think Fresno FC is actually determining when to press in terms of they just upped a level. They maybe were dropped just about 5 more yards than maybe Coach Adam Smith wanted them to. He just pushed them up 1 more level, and now they're getting the turnovers they want.
The wall was brought down. Fire Squad Fresno back jumping again. Drums are beating. Another free kick for Juan Pablo Cafa.
Absolutely fantastic fan base here at Fresno FC.
Numbers again good this year. And a team that has Fresno Fuego in the League 2 level before jumping into the championship. Always garnered great support, but now taking over the ballpark downtown, Chuck Chancey Park. This is shooting range for Cafa. And Cafa will shoot, deflected ball wide of Rodriguez. Did go off the wall, corner. Who am I kidding? Everywhere across the halfway line feels like shooting range for this dude.
It is, it is. Juan Pablo Cafa's got that cannon of a left foot.
The cross, and that time for Daly. Martin. Kurimoto. Off the outside of his foot, fell in front, and Jack could have let his goalkeeper put 2 mitts on that. Poor communication.
I was just going to say that Fresno FC seems to be getting better opportunities in their second opportunity off corners. The corner themselves aren't really becoming dangerous, but those second chance opportunities. And here's that second chance off Cafa's corner.
This is a pretty unique texture on the ball from Kurimoto, wasn't it? I think he spun that the other way. Burt looks like he's playing with a tremendous reserve of energy off of Robinson and gets out. Harris, great player, MLS, played in USL back when it was still the A-League over 2 decades ago. Not to age him or anything.
Second and third balls. Ronnie, second and third.
You think about it. Adam Smith had a nice career. He's got a former Premier League striker and Robert Earnshaw on his bench as an assistant. You got Wolde Harris over there. It used to be Steve Tritchu rather atop the coaching ladder there at Colorado Springs. Talking about 2 of the most star-studded coaching staffs in USL.
Just gives you an idea of the growth of the league. USL's done a tremendous job. We talked to Coach Wolde Harris earlier this week about when he was in the A-League and comparing it now to the USL a little bit and how much it has grown and the infrastructure and the structure of teams.
It's a little more technical now, he says. Back then he said, I just wanted a chance to play out of college.
Absolutely. Yep.
The world was a lot different in this country in terms of soccer back then. Kurimoto, as Ellis Hayden did well to sneak it by Robinson and Jome. It's been a lot more one-way traffic as this game has moved along. And a foul and a free kick coming. Yellow cards out. Martin was brought down. And Alejandro Aguilera will show a yellow to Anderson.
The Switchbacks are just giving up set piece after set piece. I'm wondering when Fresno FC is going to take advantage of one of these. They all seem to be in pretty dangerous areas.
A 51-50 yellow card to Sebastian Anderson, who was just sent on loan this week by the Rapids. Well, watch out for that second ball.
Yep.
Coach has been all over it so far. Cafa. will come out for a throw. Jamal Jack put his head to it. We're closing in on the half-hour mark. It's over 100 degrees. And likely we will see a hydration break.
When you give up as many set pieces as the Switchbacks are right now, Fresno FC is going to get different looks, and they're going to get opportunities to try different set pieces. So you're just giving them opportunity after opportunity to expose different areas of space on those set pieces. So, you know, begin to limit those chances. Because as the game goes on, they can figure out the matchups they want on those set pieces and really start to exploit those areas.
Referee letting play continue. Lawal yanked down. That's obvious yellow card material. And it's Watu Biaye into the book. 51-50 yellow card.
Just shows how explosive Qudus Lawal is. Just 1v1, goes at him, tries to find the space in behind and forces him to foul, really.
Those are two big dudes going at it, by the way.
Absolutely. A lot of strength and power.
Johnson. And a foul by Mickey Daly.
Yeah, there they go. Fresno FC gets to try a short corner, short set piece, and Jamal Johnson sends it in. Unfortunately, let the Switchbacks out with a foul.
There's Rodriguez, 11 saves in his debut back in April at Phoenix. Of course, Phoenix has now won 15 games in a row. That was at a time when Phoenix was a little more vulnerable, shall we say. Fresno's got the lion's share of the shots and the possession. But as we reach the half-hour mark in Fresno, nothing to show for that yet.
That dangerous Phoenix Rising team goes to visit Colorado Springs next week.
It doesn't get easier, does it?
It does not.
And we have hit the hydration break that the wet bulb thermometer has reminded the fourth official to issue here.
Is called for a hydration break.
Mentioned it's 98 degrees officially at kickoff. It was over 100 earlier today.
On Wednesday, September 18th against Rio Grande Valley Toros. And on Saturday,
We've got a special event to tell you about. The Foxes inviting everyone out to their Art Hop event next month, taking place Thursday, September 9th at the Fresno FC Team Store. Fans can hang out with the players and the coaches. A night of live screen printing, special edition options for fans to enjoy, pick up futsal, food trucks, DJ sets, beer by Tioga Sequoia, bounce houses for the kids, so much more. The event takes place 5 to 8:30 on Thursday, September 9th. More info, follow Fresno FC on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at FFC Foxes. That sounds like a good time.
Absolutely. When we spoke to head coach Adam Smith earlier this week, I had asked him specifically how he prepares his lineup to play on a baseball field. With it slightly narrower, not quite as long. It was 70 by 110, but he went on to talk about how he was impressed with their hydration and their cooling breaks and how hot it was in Fresno and the methods they took to cool down their players. He didn't divulge what those methods were, but he was very impressed with the team and the program. in terms of how they took care of their players in this Fresno heat.
Yeah, that's right. He did sort of give us the...
He called them cooling methods.
Sure. And he's brought in some new staff to try and help with injury prevention. And certainly when you talk about cooling methods, you're talking about avoiding those hamstring strains and those muscle spasm injuries that historically for Fresno have been death knells in really good parts of their season. They're just welcoming Jackson back, and they're still without Alex Cooper. And then you've got breaks that you really can't do anything about.
Correct, and I'm interested to see, Coach Adam Smith had said that obviously playing at home is a huge advantage because of the heat. So I'm interested to see how this Colorado Springs team goes moving forward.
They've come firing right out of the hydration break in the wall with a hop step. We should have done a little better there. With Eric Dobransky, Mike Watts on hand. Fresno and Colorado Springs, teams at quite literally bookends of the roster in the Western Conference. Fresno in third, Colorado Springs third from last in 16th. Colorado Springs, they've gone 5 winless, and for Fresno, 3 unbeaten. You mentioned Reno earlier on. They're at Reno September the 7th. That may be a 6-point game to decide who eventually might be hosting a conference semifinal between the two if they were to maintain that 2-3 position in the West. But we're getting to the point where I think Adam Smith was pretty clear about it. We don't care that they're 16th on the table. We don't even necessarily care that we lost a goal to nil to them so much as every game, 3 points on the line. And when you look at the table, it doesn't discriminate at the end of the year who you beat.
No, it does not. And we talked about head coach Adam Smith about the message all weekend, and he was very clear. 3 points are up for grabs, and he needs this team needs all 3 points.
Charging in Schweitzer. Robinson to the other side. It's Jordan Schweitzer again. Argueta went down, and the attack is on here up the right-hand side. This will deflect out. Corner coming. Colorado Springs, we'll see if they're a little more frugal with their set pieces than Fresno has been.
And these are going to be where Colorado Springs needs to take advantage of their opportunities here on corner kicks. They obviously haven't seen much of the ball in possession. So can they force Fresno FC to make a mistake here?
Cross here, bounces all the way through. Delphin made an effort. Johnson launches the other way between the two center backs. He's the 2 players back. And Schweitzer commits a foul. Well, if you're going to call a foul there, one would think you have to give a card as well.
You would think.
I think it's a pretty loose foul, but that's an interesting thought process there for the referee to have to go through. Location of the foul and where the runner is going. Cross whipped in, Chavez off the top of his head. And off into Fire Squad Fresno.
Just a little off timing-wise for Jaime Chavez. going back to head coach Adam Smith and the 3 points we discussed with him earlier this week, obviously I was just asking in regards to what your mindset is when you're a third-place team playing a 16th place team.
Chance to step over Lawal. Heavy touch, and he knows it.
And that's when head coach Adam Smith got into not taking anything for granted. They know where they want to be. So he just got caught up in the surface a little bit. And again, that infield surface, it's always tough to play on.
But as a coach, regardless of level, for you as a coach, it's real, right? Every player looks at the standings a little bit. Every player thinks they're easy games and hard games. As a coach, you know there's no such thing as 3 easy points.
Absolutely.
How the heck do you get people to understand that?
Yeah, but it seems like Adam Smith has really gotten his team to buy into to tactics all season and what they needed to get accomplished.
Johnson goes down. Bassett and Molde Harris both are arguing their case to the referee. Now Schweitzer too. You can hear Harris saying he got around him and won the ball. You be the judge. Yeah.
That's tough. And then now they're giving Fresno FC another dangerous set piece.
I think Colorado Springs has a pretty fair point here.
I agree 100%.
To be a fly on the wall in that conversation. Well, we'll see what Kaffa can uncork here. This has not been his best work. The 34-year-old native of Argentina. Kaffa. Whoa, Rodriguez, Superman with a one-fisted punch.
Yeah, and you just brought it up. Kaffa's had a number of opportunities here in this first half already on set pieces, and none of them have been really dangerous.
Johnson. Quick whip of the cross. That just goes wide. Luwal is saying that took a deflection, and the referee will give a goal kick.
What an opportunity. Looks like he had the goalkeeper beat, just missed. Whipped in ball, just misses, just barely.
Chavez overrun, but Kuramoto tried to play it through Jaume. Flag is up here. Well, that's Fernando Delfin. Mentioned he's got 5 appearances for Club America, primarily their under-20 team last year, but did make a couple appearances Liga MX, and general manager of the club and bring him in. Into expansive move in the window. Ball across. Oh, you got to do better with that if you're Lawal. It bounced up on him a bit. And Chavez with a ringing service. Doesn't amount to anything there, but the crowd can sense it's coming.
And that's what I was just about to talk about, was Qudus Lawal and the pairing with Jaime Chavez, is you haven't seen much from the two of them on or off the ball. They're kind of settling for first runs off the ball, so they're really not moving anybody. And then they get in behind, get a good little chance, but absolutely, Qudus Lawal needs to do better with that opportunity.
There was a time when he first blew onto the scene where he's scoring every game, and it was never going to continue at that rate. Adam Smith did say his form not quite what it was, naturally. Somehow that cue ball nearly found its way all the way from Johnson. Kaffa for Lawal. That's the kind of service that's a little more Kaffa-esque. Argueta.
But the issue with Fresno FC right now is they're very predictable in the final third. They just haven't been dynamic enough. Their second and third runs have not been non-existent. They're really just settling for up and down runs and really not making any Colorado Springs defender move.
Jome lines up Ellis Hayden. The more I think about the way this game has progressed, so often Fresno's best talent is on the wing. As Jome able to get through off of Kurimoto. They have tried almost exclusively to work through the middle of the field, and without Jackson and Cooper, that might make a lot of sense, but it doesn't necessarily look exactly the way we're used to.
Correct, and I think Ellis Hayden has faded a little bit as this half has gone on, whether they're just not finding him or he's not finding the ball. So I think they need to continue to find that width a little bit. And with a minute and a half left in this first half, Colorado Springs has got to be sitting here happy to be at 0-0.
And both sides are hoping the air conditioners have been left on while they've been out. Ellis Hayden crashes through. He may have been going down a bit early on his own, but Fresno will certainly take the free kick as the first half nears conclusion.
My goodness, this would drive you crazy as a coach, giving up a set piece like this in this kind of area with a minute left in the half. Now you're going to ask your team to defend a set piece like this. Again, because we talk about mentality, Colorado Springs is trying to play spoiler. They're trying to improve for either to make points and get points for the standings, and then obviously just trying to spoil what Fresno FC is trying to do in a top 2 finish.
Hoffa orchestrating and drives it to the near post. Rodriguez has to pop out.
He almost caught Rodriguez just setting up defenders. He almost caught him that near post.
Ball nearly put in the net. That could have been an Olympico if that had gotten by Rodriguez. 3 added minutes of stoppage.
Wow, Rodriguez. That is very, very well done.
And now, lengthy stretch ball looking for Del Campo, who is still forward. Let's be frank, Rodriguez is not the tallest goalkeeper in the world. And he probably still has a growth spurt in him along the way at only 17. But they feel like as a young player, he's good enough that he should be getting professional reps on a regular basis. And he blew onto the scene with that incredible game at Phoenix earlier this year. He's had to make a couple of saves here, including that last one where he just simply had to lift it. We're through 1 minute of 3 of stoppage time. And there's the other goalkeeper on this roster who in years past has been a starter, Stuart Seus, a 32-year-old Haitian international, is strutting along the sideline. Cochran, however, is precisely the goalkeeper mold. Guy who Adam Smith just felt needed some games. Here he comes, Lawal. Lawal, the cutback ball. He could have had a shot at that himself, and instead Johnson with a potentially really dangerous effort, trying to scissor that.
Cutest Lawal, take it yourself. That's what you want. You're going right at goal. But he gives it up for Jamel Johnson.
If you're Jamal Johnson, I understand wanting to go for that, but you could have kicked the guy and cleated him pretty hard in that moment too. Not quite what you're looking for. One more minute of stoppage. It's been quiet so far. Coming up at halftime, we'll tell you about the latest news and notes from around the league and get you ready for the second half after we peek at first half highlights. It's Bassett. What a punch in the gut it could be if Colorado Springs finds a goal right before the break. Or vice versa. Colorado Springs, it's maybe a lead they don't entirely deserve. For Fresno, it could really make this difficult on Colorado Springs after they felt like they had held them in check. Rodriguez off his line. That should take us to the break. Offside flag is up, and there's the halftime whistle. Eric, what's the takeaway from this first half?
A little bit too predictable from Fresno FC. I really want to see a little better second and third runs from them. And then Colorado Springs, they have avoided the deadly turnover. They've avoided turning the ball over in their half while they're wide open.
So those referees will go get a long-awaited rest in the aforementioned air conditioning. Fresno and Colorado Springs scoreless at the break. We'll show you news and notes, highlights from around the league, and stats as well, all when we return.
Good 25 years I've been playing, and I still play every day. I get home from work, it's my de-stress, and I play for about an hour a day, and I just love it, man. It's part of me. I'm not the best drummer, I can't read music, but it was me. It was what I wanted to do. It's been 4 years straight of every match. I got to do it. I got to be there. I still got the bug. The bug still bites me every time I got to get my drum ready. I don't think that's going to go away. There's nothing like having a team representing the sport that you love so much at home. You feel that ownership, you feel that belonging, that like they belong to you. They're representing you. I love it. I think it's a good thing for downtown. Never thought it would be here, but now that it is, I'm just fired up. I have my MLS team, I have my Premier League team, I have my USL team. You have your different leagues, but home comes first. Whether it's Fire Squad or the Skulk or the Vigilantes, having that energy and that heartbeat, it's their way of showing their love and support and the way we know how to do it. Yell and scream and dance and pound the drum and get that rhythm going, that energy up, so that we can have our guys feed off of us. The calluses and the blisters, like that just is part of the job when you're a drummer. The big moment isn't a drum moment or a song moment, it's just that excitement of we're starting something bigger and new for the city. I was bit with the bug 5 years ago. I was just like, this is where I need to be. And that day, oh man, I care a lot, dude. My wife and I decided that's it. This is our community. So, since then, season ticket holders. We love it here. We love our team. We love our city. It's a big deal.
Charging on, curling across, that's excellent from Harvino!
Quickly to Watson. Watson gonna take a shot! Oh my!
That is sensational from the Irishman! Plays it across, and finds the one-handed out!
Welcome into episode 13 of Steal Some Time. We are going to start over in the East and chat a little bit about North Carolina hosting the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this week. And I think that we can easily say that nobody saw a 5-0 outcome, at least in North Carolina's favor, coming out of week 24. But let me tell you, North Carolina stuck it to the Riverhounds, shut down that unbeaten streak that they had going. And really, I mean, they dominated play, outshot Pittsburgh 13-5, 8 shots on target as well, which is fantastic. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, didn't have a single shot on target, and I think that's obviously a major difference maker. North Carolina looked good, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, the same week Austin Duluth announces his retirement, he then goes and dedicates a 5-0 win over Pittsburgh to the Oak City supporters.
So cool.
Definitely didn't play out how I thought it would.
Right.
And I think that I speak for the vast majority of fans around the championship who just kind of looked at that and said, what the heck's going on with Pittsburgh?
Elsewhere ahead in week 25. I don't know how much longer we can talk about Phoenix, but they're giving us no other choice. They're back for another dollar beer night, and this time they're hosting Sacramento. And I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say that this story's different. As good as Phoenix's backline has been, I think this is the biggest chance all season that Phoenix is going to have a run for their money on dollar beer night, going for 15 straight wins.
Are you calling I won't make you go out.
No, I'll call that. Yeah, I think this is it.
They're going to lose
I
or
do.
draw?
I think
I was just going to let you say that the win streak is snapped.
I think the win streak
She's
is
visually
snapped.
hedging right now.
Yeah, I see the bullets, the little beads of sweat just starting to she can feel the heat here. She feels the pressure. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to call it. I think the L comes.
Boy, do I have bad news for Kelsey Steele. It's halftime, Fresno and Colorado Springs. As the lights are on at Chuck Chancey Park, let me show you why there is bad news. Let's take a look at news and notes from around the USL Championship. Eric, if I said your team is about to win 15 consecutive games, you would say?
Yes, I'll take it.
I'll take it? That's all you'd say? What kind of coach is this?
I'd be celebrating as well.
Okay, all right. Meanwhile, midweek, top two teams in the East both won, Red Bulls 2 and North Carolina, but North Carolina lost at Louisville earlier today. It is Supporters Week. You just saw Bang Bang. He's a pretty good drummer. He acts like he doesn't have that much skill. I disagree. I don't care if you can read music. I care he can play. Meanwhile, upcoming schedule. Tomorrow, couple games. Got Bethlehem and Birmingham. Birmingham rising up the Eastern Conference right now. Indy 11 has games in hand on everybody in the East, taking on a Charlotte Independent side that has improved. Phoenix coming off Friday night after play on Tuesday against Tacoma. Is that where it ends? It would be some kind of upset. And let's take a look at how the standings look in the West with all this in mind. These are live right now. Las Vegas is ahead of Portland Timbers 2, drops Timbers 2 out of the playoffs for the first time this year. Well, Fresno and Colorado Springs are both given a point. It would mean Fresno would be ahead of Reno if this current result holds. So that's what it looks like around the league. And we've got Seus and the gang making their way out. So second half right around the corner. We got first half highlights after this. First half highlights, Colorado Springs and Fresno. We begin with Fresno creating for themselves. We did see good moments from Luwal, Johnson, and also from Jaime Chavez over the top.
Yes, and they just didn't convert the chances they got right there on the turnover. Got to do a little better with that.
And Colorado Springs, when they did take that space between midfield and defenders, Bird, not afraid.
Yeah, I'm also wondering what head coach Waldy Harris feels about Jordan Burt playing up top. Obviously experimenting with it this game. Does he feel like it's been productive?
Jome lived this first half on ice skates. In this instance, Jamal Jack clears it away. And Chavez was giving chase. later effort. These second balls were probably better than the initial set piece consistently in the first half.
Absolutely, and it allowed Fresno FC to control the tempo a little bit with that second ball.
In this instance, ball lobbed further on the second effort. More convincing clearance. Johnson leading the other way. Jaime Chavez getting in behind, just missing Luwal. That was really the first time the two connected.
This was one of two really good chances Fresno FC had in the first half. And here coming with Cutis Luwal. Wishing that Cutis Luwal would take it himself here.
And instead, Watu Yabe ultimately allowed that to fester just enough that Jamal Johnson was well covered by the time he got there. Rodriguez has made his way back out. And we're nearing the beginning of the second half. If you are Fresno, what's the conversation, Coach Dobrensky, at halftime?
Execute set pieces. Colorado Springs has given Fresno FC set piece after set piece. You've got to convert one of them. For Colorado Springs, can they connect? I haven't seen them connect. And again, I go back to head coach Walde Harris playing Jordan Burt up top. Is that working to your satisfaction? Are you going to make a change? Are you going to pull him back in the back? What are you going to do?
On to the second half. As Fresno and Colorado Springs on level terms. Fresno trying to avoid dropping points here for the second consecutive game. A 1-1 draw against Real Monarchs, which they led at the break their last time out. Rodriguez drives it away. While Colorado Springs is looking for their first win in what would be 6 games. It looked like they had turned the corner shortly after Harris took over. But the results continued to pile up against them. And there is a list of walking wounded down on the field right now. Schweitzer for Colorado Springs, slow to get back up. Luwal saying one of his players remains down. And Martin will try and run this off. Burt playing a little deeper, perhaps, at the outset. And there he goes, sprinting forward. Off of Ellis Hayden.
Absolutely, and I think that's the adjustment you make is you put Jordan Burt up there for a reason. You had a purpose. So now, do you execute it a different way? Do you have him drop off and receive and turn himself? You saw in the first half that he felt very comfortable taking into space and taking a shot himself.
Of note, only 370 total completed passes between these two sides in the opening half. And passing accuracy for Colorado Springs was down at 71%. You'd like to see that typically for a team that likes to build out of the back closer to the low 80s. At minimum.
And let's see if Colorado Springs has a little more success building out of the back now that they're on the opposite side of the pitch. They don't have the surface on the infield dirt.
Cross here, Chavez, it's just out of his reach. Martin will throw quickly, Kaffa to the ball, Martin rolls away, and he's grabbing for the base of his leg. It looked like he sort of got caught up there. More in the field than anything.
That's obviously the last thing head coach Adam Smith wants to see is Elijah Martin on the ground holding his ankle.
That earlier effort for Chavez there. No, there's literally nobody left. I mean, you're talking about maybe you go to a Casillas. Kaffa. That's back set out for a throw.
Hey, he pushed the guy with 2 hands and he didn't call anything. 2 hands.
Well, you can see the push-off argument. Robinson get that as far as Martin. I'm wondering, Coach, if this role makes you a little more likely to be kind to the fourth official next time you work.
No, I might take a couple tips from Walde Harris after tonight.
But these coaches know how to work the sideline. Well done, Ellis Hayden. Dipping and driving and toward the wall and out for a corner.
This is where I'm interested to see if Fresno FC could really capitalize on a chance like this. You're about to be 5 minutes into the second half. You probably feel like you left something out there in the first half with the two quality chances they had with Jaime Chavez and Kudus Lawal. You just need to find that goal. You need to find it.
It's Johnson this time, as opposed to Kaffa, but Kaffa's there to take that second ball. Martin. Ellis Hayden. Kaffa. Kurimoto faces goal. And Robinson has that, rather Rodriguez.
That set piece from Johnson on the corner. I just wonder, this is probably the second or third time they've gone right at Rodriguez on the corner.
That's part of the plan. Kaffa. Johnson has scored from there. Instead, plays it further. Played across, comes to Martin. Martin on his right, a blast. Blocked away and lifted away from Kurimoto. Bypassing Robinson. And up the right-hand side, the cross Rodriguez claims.
It goes back to what we talked about earlier, is Rodriguez not being the tallest goalkeeper that you'd probably see in the USL. And again, this is going multiple times at him at corner kicks, and he's done well with them. So do you, next time, if you get it next time, do you try to go a little farther away? Maybe you try to hit that between the 6 and the PK spot to really find one of those runners.
Of note, shots in the first half, 10-1. But only 2 on target, both by Fresno. Johnson here. The numbers are pretty staggering, but what do they really mean at this stage? Johnson, well, means something about like that.
They're just settling, even with the half chance that Elijah Martin got earlier, and then that from Johnson. They're just settling. I don't know how they were going to break this Colorado Springs team down to get that goal.
It's Zach Ellis Hayden on the move. That's a really dangerous challenge from Del Campo, all things considered.
And it's a silly challenge, too. He has support behind him. There's no reason. He panics after he gives the ball up, and he fouls. He had 2 to 3 defenders in support of him. There was no threat of a counterattack right away. They could have slowed the ball down. And now you're allowing the Switchbacks to get numbers forward and get Ish Jome on this ball. And a little careless turnover here. He has good support. There's no reason. Especially with a Switchbacks team that is failing to connect a little bit in that final third. You're going to give them exactly what they want right now.
Jome, who leads this team in crosses and in chances created, but has been uncharacteristically quiet on the offensive end on this night. Jome again in an advanced position off the set piece. And Martin heads it out. Of note for Del Campo, that's only his 15th yellow card in 94 professional appearances. Argueta off of Geffrard, corner.
And you go back to Ishjom for a second. The first half, they really spent a lot of time attacking him, and you can't. And if you're Ishjom, you can't get into the final third if you're being the one attacked the whole time. So now, are they going to find a way to free him up? Maybe shift some people over. Obviously, he's going to get an opportunity to serve this ball in.
Ishjom, the former Minnesota player, Nashville player. In Nashville, they called him the dimension that they lacked. And yet he didn't quite fit in there at the end. Jome, in a way that was quite simple in the end for Cochran. And a foul there. Lawal. I think Bassett's making a similar argument to his head coach. Picked up a yellow card in a way that was probably a bit cheaper than that last effort. There really is no veiled coach speak in Wolde Harris. He is saying exactly what he wants in full view of the opposition. As a coach, is there any misdirection there, or seems like he's laying cards right on the table?
Well, you just want the game called fairly. If obviously he's getting yellow cards on the Colorado Springs side, then you want the same for the Fresno FC side.
Johnson went down, play on, but he's even describing positioning of individual players, and I mean, we're kind of catching a front row seat to this all right now. But I assume so is Adam Smith. He's as close as we are to the situation. We're more than 10 minutes into the second half, and we're still scoreless. Adam Smith sits right outside the dugout on that slightly different seat. And this will run all the way into the goalkeeper. Under control by Abe Rodriguez. Rapids youth over the last 3-4 years. Kuramoto, that was poor. Burt. And a save by Cochran. First effort on goal all night for Colorado Springs. Burt breaking through, and Cochran comes up huge.
Way to recognize a moment, CJ Cochran. Your team turns the ball over. It goes to the feet of the most dangerous player on the Switchbacks team right now with 6 goals. In my mind, I'm thinking Jordan Burt's going to bury it, and CJ Cochran comes in big.
Boy, does he. Puts his whole body on the line there, doesn't he? And we're currently dealing with some technical difficulties between Fresno and Colorado Springs. As we try and get a grip on what's currently going on there. And if you think about what Colorado Springs has done effectively in this game, as you've got images back again, the primary focus for you coming in, Coach, watching film Colorado Springs, don't give the ball away in a bad spot. Fresno almost shot themselves in the foot with precisely the thing Colorado Springs came in worried about.
Oh, it's incredible because, and you've got to be frustrated if you're Adam Smith. You have to be, because the message has got to be, hey, guys, be patient. Be patient and the goal will come. But there is a point where you become too patient and it becomes a little lax, and you turn a ball over like that.
Well, Colorado Springs right now really growing into the game. in a way we haven't seen yet today. Kaffa thought he was free and clear. Not the case.
Those second balls are now becoming Colorado Springs. Those bounces are going to the switchbacks.
And Martin plows into Anderson.
I go back to the patience part of it. Colorado Springs is doing a tremendous job of getting good numbers behind the ball in transition. And like we talked about, they haven't turned the ball over in a really bad area, so they've been able to get those numbers behind. But now, Fresno, are you going to take the extra effort to break this team down? And right now, Fresno FC has not. They've settled for shots 30 yards out. They've settled for shots with a defender right in front of them. And that has to be something that Colorado Springs wanted to do, was frustrate Fresno FC and make them settle.
Del Campo, Anderson. Well, saved by the flag and by the AR.
That was about to be a careless turnover. Saved by that call.
My spirit animal is there in the background with his shirt off. It is too hot outside for this.
That's his cooling method.
Yes. I think our producer tonight, Wes, and I can both understand the need for that cooling method from time to time. Jamal Johnson lifts that across with a hope and a prayer. Goes unanswered.
Now, I was going to say that initial ball to Johnson is the way you can break this team down, is if you can find those angles and find those spaces where you break a bigger line of pressure, now you're causing them to scramble, and now you're causing them to work back to goal. So can you find more moments like that while they're set?
Martin again, and Chavez went down. Watu Biaye, the player, was on his backside. Something just got thrown there at the capo. He's sort of looking around. Now he's got a smirk. Empty water bottle. At this point, empty is probably more common than full. Look, he doesn't necessarily look like a professional goalkeeper, if only because he still looks so young and he's not some 6'4" giant. But I think Abe Rodriguez has shown pretty good command in this game. He's backing in now. Chavez. Pushing forward, long distance rip off the post and in. Saeed Robinson with a missile that kisses the post, rattles the net, and Colorado Springs might have their second upset of Fresno this year.
How unbelievable is that? You give them one chance, Saeed Robinson, you give him a chance, you back off just a little bit, and he punishes you. Nobody steps. They don't close that lane soon enough. Looks like CJ Cochran just got a piece of that.
Colorado Springs Switchbacks, goal scored by number 11, Saeed Robinson.
Robinson only 2 goals this year. And you would never guess it with how he took that.
Well, and Saeed Robinson has been a player for Colorado Springs that has been dangerous but hasn't been what Coach Waldia Harris wanted to do, which is be ruthless in front of goal. I would say that's being ruthless in front of goal.
No question about it. And Saeed Robinson, who just made a 30-yard run and blasted one off the near side post, planted it in the net, has given Colorado Springs the lead. You know, you think back to the first meeting between these two teams, it's a headed corner kick. It's the different from Burt. Now you've got Robinson, another longtime Switchbacks mainstay, who's found an answer, and Fresno is scrambling to get some subs on and try and turn the tide here.
So there's two things here. Can Fresno FC get a hold of this game and get back to where they were in the first half with creating chances, but obviously put it up a notch and really take that extra chance or that extra run? And then
the wall goes down. Jamal Jack, a foul just outside the penalty area. And when Pablo Caffa is inching closer to that spot, he or Jamal Johnson surely will have a go at this.
And this is what I was just about to talk about. In Colorado Springs, can you recognize the moment where you just scored a goal? You've been taking a lot of pressure. Can you hold on to the lead and close out this game? But literally a minute later, you're giving up a set piece in a terrible area to Juan Pablo Caffa.
I'm going to speak the obvious. In a day where Juan Pablo Caffa has not had the best service, put the ball on frame. It's that simple, isn't it?
It is. It is. He has not been accurate with his services, his shots today. And this is going to be a little tough because you got to get it up and down over a wall. You're a little over 20 yards out.
This might be right in the wheelhouse. Caffa has scored some unbelievable free kick goals over the last few years. And Rodriguez ready to pounce, looking through the wall. It is Caffa going for goal. He hit the crossbar. Follow Martin Rodriguez again. Somehow nobody was offside. Rodriguez is the one who's barking loudest. How in the world did this stay out?
Wow. I think Colorado Springs is appealing for a handball there at the end. Can't see it on that replay.
Chance here! There's your goal! Kuramoto from distance! 1-1. Only bangers in this game. His first for Fresno is a monster finish.
Absolute phenomenal strike. Here's that second opportunity on the hop, hit frame. What a fantastic finish. What confidence to take that one time on the half bounce. Oh my goodness. And it goes back to what we were just talking about with Colorado Springs. You just scored a few minutes ago.
Right. 4 minutes. Wow. And look at Fresno set to bring on Christian Chaney and Renato Bustamante. They are going for it at this point, and Shane Malcolm coming in the other way.
You've got to give Fresno a lot of credit, bouncing back. They could have easily just looked at that one goal and been like, what is going on in this game? But quickly get one back.
That's enough for Chavez. Chaney in. That is like for like. And Jamal Johnson comes out, and Bustamante comes on. That's going to be a more interesting sub to keep an eye on. The wall is getting forward. Fresno looks like they are re-energized, no doubt about it.
They do, and with the subs here, you really haven't gotten a great game out of Juan Pablo Caffa. You haven't gotten a great game out of Johnson and Jaime Chavez. Now, obviously, Chavez and Johnson.
That ball all the way across, just out of the reach from Shane Malcolm, who just came in and provided teasing service. Second effort, Burt, wide. Well, now Fresno back in a 1-1 game. We'll see if they've got that confidence, that mental toughness. Find their go-ahead goal. Caffa, who whistled one off the crossbar. It looked like he had hit it just perfectly. Ultimately led to a corner that led to the goal. And another look at what Caffa did a couple moments ago. So when the ball actually leaves his foot, I do think, looking again, that Chavez was onside. Yeah, with 14 there, the furthest player back, I think no question. Guatu Biaye, I think, was the player that made that non-side play. Great stuff by our crew, getting a good look at that. Because truthfully, my first thought is, how in the world is that onside? That led to the corner that led, right?
Same. They were wide open, and they probably should have put that opportunity away. Luckily, you come back and you get a second chance, and Kiramoto buries one from outside the 18. You missed the easy one, but you bury the hard one.
Kuramoto with a bullet. By the same token, Saeed Robinson scored a special goal in this game too. All level at 1. On a night that's quite hot out. Who's got all that energy left? Anderson will win a corner here. How about Martin putting himself in the thick of it?
Regardless of the goal and it being 1-1, I still think Colorado Springs has done a tremendous job of growing into this game. Whereas I felt the first half was really one-way traffic.
Jome, header wide. Looked like Jamal Jack. It was soaring through, got his head to it. Floated for Cheney. They didn't give him a chance there. All the way to Cochran. Offside flag raised. Whoa, Burt. Right, a dipping effort toward goal.
Yeah, going back to the Cheney substitution, I wonder what Adam Smith saw with Cutis Lawal and Jaime Chavez, obviously leaving Cutis Lawal on the field. And when we had talked to him earlier this week, last week against Real Monarchs, he made the choice to leave Cutis Lawal off the starting 11 and went with Jaime Chavez and
then,
said he lacked a little bit of form.
Right, and then didn't bring him on until the 90th minute.
Yep, didn't bring him on.
I think he felt like both his subs, maybe ill-timed or maybe not quite the right move. In a year where he's probably hit the right button 80–90% of the time, theoretically, those were a couple where he felt he had something to learn from the occasion. Mentioned that back in the first half. Floated ball. Geffrard lost it. Little tug there. Referee won't even give advantage, simply lets Malcolm play out of it. Jome. Jome. Well, that could have sprouted right onto Malcolm's foot. Instead, here comes Fresno. Lawal working on Jack. Jack the foul.
If you're Adam Smith, you want Cutis Lawal to go at him a little sooner than that. Obviously, he ends up with a set piece opportunity, but you look at, and you're squared up 1v1 with an outside back, and there's not a center back within sight for another 10-15 yards. You gotta go at that outside back. You see him square up, and then you don't see any support. Just go at him at that point. Don't bring it back. He eventually does and gets the set piece.
Kaffa nearly there for Cheney. With that excellent leaping ability. Martin, part two, snap down and wide. Cheney and Geffrard were both available at the back post.
August has been officially recognized as Central Valley Craft Beer Week. Breweries all over the valley are partnering with local restaurants, pairing beer and food.
There's a good ball sent in by Elijah Martin.
Local food by visiting Central
to Christian Cheney.
Guild Facebook page or their calendar.
If you're Cheney, could you whip it back around across the box, find another runner?
Can Cheney grasp a chance to get back into this rotation of forwards? Times they've gone with just one. Tonight they go with two. Chavez and Lawal, and the former Fresno City College player taps that ball over toward Martin. He's been a bit out of form, Cheney. Header backward, Jamal Jack. Got him tied up. Cheney, Kaffa. That's brilliant. If it stays in, it did. Ellis Hayden toward Lawal. And there is a challenge there at the back. And Lawal goes barreling through Sebastian Anderson, who has taken a beating today.
I give Colorado Springs a lot of credit tonight. They have stayed away from that terrible turnover in their own half. No flat balls across the back, nothing that's been picked off, and the transition's been there. They've done a tremendous job of that. And we talked to head coach Walde Harris about it this week, about the habits and trying to build good habits and trying to get out of those turnovers. And he recognizes that's been an issue all season.
away by Gaffrard. Gaffrard was on that Haitian national team roster at the Gold Cup that had one of the more influential runs of the 2019 tournament. Gaffrard put under pressure here. Steered further, Jome. Jome, rebound heavy from Cochran. Reaches over the top, pulls it in.
Colorado Springs has been a little bit more creative and a little bit more dynamic since Shane Malcolm has entered the field.
Get your tickets for the Fox's next 2 home matches on Wednesday, September 18th against Rio Grande Valley Toros.
He's got that pace and he's got that confidence going 1 versus 1. Shane Malcolm does.
When the Foxes host Phoenix Rising here at Chancey Park. Stop by the courtesy booth beyond section 121 tonight.
Burt being checked on. It looked like the ball was literally grabbed off his head by Cochran there at the end. But he did get jostled along the way.
Yeah, I don't know that ball before it, if Cochran just made a mess of it or if it was deflected or what, but obviously his ability to clean that up. Looks like Burt is okay.
Visit www.uschampionship.com.
And back to play we go. Burt has returned, and Ellis Hayden was overplayed there. Updates from elsewhere. Into the 80th minute for Las Vegas and Timbers 2. Jose Villarreal's got the lone goal of that game. So Vegas 1-0 lead. That pushed Portland down to 12th, given the results around them today, and bring Vegas potentially as high as 30 points, which puts them 3 points away from the playoff picture under Eric Winalda. Orange County blew out Real Monarchs on the day. Former U.S. men's national teamer Michael Orozco scoring the opener in that one. Aiden Quinn, the finishing touch. OKC 4-2 winners for Austin Bold, trying to make a playoff push. And what might be the floodgates opening for San Antonio, long overdue.
Handball there.
San Antonio blows out New Mexico 5-0.
I think if this scoreline stands, I think a lot of teams around the league would be surprised. I think you have a Colorado Springs team that would leave here with a point on the road when they've only got 5 points on the road all season out of their 22 points. You take a point, you look at Fresno FC, they'd probably be disappointed with just taking a point.
You think about Fresno, 10 games to go after this, and they are 9 points clear of Austin for 4th, and 10 points clear of Oklahoma City for 5th, which means a home playoff game and avoiding the preliminary round of the playoffs. So off comes Lual here. Zamora comes on for his 3rd appearance for the club and his first off the bench. What do you make out of the way Lual played? And now we've seen Cheney go off onto the field as the lone forward essentially now, so a different look.
Disappointed a little bit with Lual's performance tonight. We had talked to Coach Smith earlier this week about his form and that he just hasn't been seeing the field as well as he did when you talked about it earlier in the game when he was on the streak of scoring almost, it seemed like, every game. he just hasn't seen the back of the net recently. So a little disappointed with it. A little more disappointed with the lack of creativity with the runs from both Jaime Chavez and Qudis Lawal.
And some more of the midfielder from Sierra Leone has entered in his stead. Cheney playing pretty deep. Kafa. Good leading ball. Bustamante. Cheney. Cheney on the move. Bustamante just behind Cheney now. Better idea. Bustamante rocked off the ball.
Now that's the spell that you want to see from Fresno FC. That is a good ball in from a late runner. Everything earlier has been runs that developed too early, and there you go with Cheney almost taking a shot, sending it out wide, and then making that deep run late.
Another look at why ultimately Bustamante was called for this foul. Watu Biaye did brilliantly there, didn't he?
Done extremely well with that name tonight.
Sure, well, according to the pronunciation guide I have, according to him, I think he may have a different opinion. Vaughn Lambert is one of the best young players in this league, and we've found out over the course of the past couple weeks that the Phoenix Rising midfielder, we don't know his name, Burt on the cutback, falls near the penalty spot. Shot is on and lifted up and over. Bassett.
Oh goodness, Bassett. You've got to do better than that. You've got to do better. You have the ball fall at your feet. Great run from Burt. Get a little fortunate with that ball coming to your feet, but Bassett, you gotta make at least Cochran make a save.
Long distance effort, never challenged Rodriguez.
You know, I hate to keep harping on Colorado Springs and their inability to recognize moments to either finish a goal or not foul and create a goal for the opponent. And Bassett, you got to recognize that moment. Now with less than 4 minutes left, which team wants to take this game? Do you have a Colorado Springs team that is okay with leaving here with 1 point, a 1-1 draw? This would be the second draw in a row from Fresno FC. This one would be from coming from behind.
Too far for Kafa. You know, I think anytime you go away to Real Monarchs, you talk about, okay, altitude. It's not a game where Kafa is at his best. And I think you're okay with that draw, all things considered. I think this is going to be one that would really sting.
I agree, 100%. This is going to be the one that if you need to look back and find out that you did finish third and you couldn't catch Reno, this is going to be even the June 1st loss.
How in the world can Fresno get numbers in this moment? Is that a push into Cheney enough for a penalty? It's not.
My goodness.
I'm somewhat flabbergasted. It's Jamal Jack there.
I mean, maybe the referee thinks he's going down too quickly, too easily. And those are two strong players right there.
And watching that second time, there's not a full extension of the arm, maybe a little chicken wing, but
Colorado Springs is really going to try to slow this game down. They want to leave here with the point.
So you tell defenders to do chicken wing, not full extension?
Some of the tricks of the trade.
Daly. Slid forward by Samora. Cheney will take that space and a little more. Cheney ricochets off the post. Fresno inches away from finding a late winner.
Chaney has come on and changed the dynamic of this game. He hasn't been afraid to go at people 1 versus 1. He hasn't been afraid to draw defenders out, open up space for his teammates. I wouldn't be surprised if they found one here late.
He and Malcolm have both been very good off the bench.
They have.
Please keep an eye on the shoves. Please keep an eye on it. Look at the pushing in the box.
I don't envy this referee right now.
No, he's gotten an earful from head coach Walde Harris all night.
From everybody, though.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Another Toyota corner. Kafa. Is this the one? Yes! Is that a winner for Fresno? It sure looks like it. Del Campo in the 90th.
Absolutely incredible. Such resilience from Fresno FC. You go down 1-0 to a team that's 16th in the standings, and you don't even think twice. Just goes back to that mental toughness that head coach Adam Smith talked about this week. And really both goals coming off corners.
Let's say this. We bagged on the service all game long, and it's the one good ball and really a second ball back across. It looks like a winner right now for Fresno. Wow.
Wow is right.
And Colorado Springs goes on the road to one of the toughest venues in the league. 100-degree temperatures. Grab a lead and watch it disintegrate. This one has potential to be a tough flight home. Jome.
Well, and even talking to head coach Walde Harris this week, unfortunately, this is who Colorado Springs has been all season, and this is why they sit at 16th in the standings, unfortunately. They've given up late goals. They've conceded goals after scoring. We talked about the Bassett shot that he sailed over the bar. They've got to make sure they clean some of that stuff up.
For number 35, Sebastian
and he talked about it this week. Well, unfortunately, old habits die hard, and here it comes to bite them.
Sebastian Anderson is done, and Matt Hunley comes on, the Rapids homegrown.
I thought Matt Hunley was phenomenal against Sacramento Republic. He missed some clear-cut opportunities, but he was dynamic in the final third. He was moving defenders. So I'm not sure this is enough time to get him going, but.
And Argueta goes into Martin, former teammates, the two of them.
Tonight's Chevron winning fan is Jonathan.
Coming up post-game, man of the match, save of the match, image of the match, moment of the match. Stick around as we prepare to wrap this one up. Win, lose, or draw for Colorado Springs and Fresno.
Behind section 121.
Chaney's doing a job right now. Argueta did take it away. Will the Switchbacks get another chance here?
When we talked to Adam Smith this week, again, what you said about his substitutions and he felt like he owned a lot of the mistakes that he made in that substitution. I don't think he's going to have any regrets with the substitutions he made tonight.
Nada.
I thought Chaney was phenomenal. I thought, again,
I think Bustamante had nice moments,
absolutely.
And
yep.
You bring on Samora to try and solidify things late in the game. I think he actually quite did nail all these. And to be fair, I think if you're Walde Harris, I look at the changes he made and think, yeah, those made sense too. Shane Malcolm nearly turned the game for Colorado Springs when he came on. Play will come back. We are well past the 3 minutes, but given that that was a Fresno foul, one would imagine the ref's going to give Colorado Springs some effort. to get this forward. At this point, everybody's got to go. Just how much of a leg does he have? Pretty good one, Cochran. He's got it. What a win for Fresno Football Club. Absolutely exhausted. A fist pump from the captain, Kaffa. And a hug with his head coach. 2-1 win, 90th minute winner. And the defenders, together with their goalkeeper, realize that they've given it all tonight and come away with a giant performance. The man of the match brought to you by El Mexicano. Game winner, Ramon Martin Del Campo.
That's just a winning mentality.
As a defender and as a goal scorer, how about the first goal? Our moment of the match brought to you by McCarty Insurance. Kurimoto.
Unbelievable strike, unbelievable confidence to hit that strike.
His first goal as a Fresno Football Club player. And Adam Smith and the Foxes grab one of the more gut-wrenching wins of the year. They took it all the way to the wire. 2-1 Fresno over Colorado Springs. They are in second in the West. Eric and I will wrap this one up after this. Adam Smith is making a victory lap around Chuck Chansey Park. A thumbs up to the suite level, clapping to the fans all around. And for Fresno, a massive win. Tonight's Save the Game brought to you by BMW. Stop by, test drive the all-new 2019 BMW 3 Series at BMW Fresno. And we go back to the early stages. Colorado Springs trying to get on the board. That's simple enough for C.J. Cochran in a night where he really wasn't pressed into much duty.
No, and he recognized the moments. I thought the save on Burt was a changing moment in the game.
Tonight's Zoom image of the match. Kurimoto knows he scored a special goal there, so do his teammates.
Absolutely. On that half volley, he took it one time with confidence and courage, and he buried it.
Massive moment in his first goal for Fresno. Let's take a look at our full-time highlights. As Fresno fell behind in this game, had some decent opportunities in the early going. We begin with Kurimoto lofting a ball forward. And in the end, Rodriguez was never really called to service. That was sort of the problem for a lot of this night for both teams, especially in the first half. Not much actually landed on the goalkeeper's doorstep.
No, but you thought eventually Fresno FC was going to get one because they had this chance with Jaime Chavez and Cutis Lawal, and then a few minutes later, Cutis Lawal had a great opportunity.
Kaffa getting it forward. bounces by. Luol, you want to see him be selfish.
I do, especially for a forward that's looking to get into better form and looking to be that starter on a consistent basis.
Let's talk about selfishness. Let's talk about getting your goal. How about Saeed Robinson, his second of the year, with a little kiss off the post.
Saeed Robinson, he's had number of chances in a number of games, and he took advantage of this one. What a strike from outside the 18.
No question. That's, again, just his second of the season. Maybe a little touch from Cochran, not enough. 4 minutes later, Fresno responds. Wow.
The Kiramoto strike. What an unbelievable strike.
This guy has been a league MVP in the lower divisions in Japan. Came over here for a chance, and he hits that one just brilliantly. 1-1, 67th minute. And Fresno has belief that they can get a late winner in this one. Daly Del Campo, 90th minute game winner.
Center back to center back. Give him some love. He got the game winner.
And those are your full-time stats. Eric Chance, for your final thoughts in this affair.
I just thought Fresno did a fantastic job of grinding out this game. They could have easily gotten frustrated after that, giving up that first goal, but it's that culture that Adam Smith has built at Fresno FC. They believed they were going to win.
And that does it for us tonight, as Fresno makes it 4 unbeaten. It's 6 consecutive without a win for Colorado Springs. There was celebration early, but Fresno, all the celebrating late. For our producer, Wes Sentek, Juan Valenzuela, our director, Santiago Guzman, John Angulo, Eric Dobransky alongside Mike Watts, saying thanks for watching. Fresno, second in the West. Magnificent win over Colorado Springs. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.